Good to
Let's
go.
do it.
Yeah, let's send it. Okay, what is up, everybody? We are here live with another episode 10. This is another milestone of the critique show here. And we've got, as usual, Joe Krug and myself are the anchors on either side of the panel here. And then we've got Noah Raskin today and Carrie Craver. So let's actually jump to this view and get a little bigger one-on-one. And Carrie, say hi to everyone. You're usually in the audience cheering people on and sharing your thoughts. Today, you're on the show with us today as a guest judge. So say hi and tell everybody what you're thinking.
Yeah, so great to be here. I'm really excited to get to see the sites today and give my perspective. I think with my really strong UX background, as opposed to the UI strength that is incredible here, I might provide a little bit different perspective. So delighted to get to be here with you guys.
Yeah, and we're excited to have your perspective. So thanks for joining us. And then we've got Noah Raskin. If you were expecting Chris Spags, we had a last minute change. Chris had to go handle some daddy duties. So Noah is stepping in last minute as a guest judge, and we appreciate him being super flexible. He was actually scheduled a couple weeks from now. And so we're bringing that up a little sooner. So what's up, Noah, in the house?
Yeah, not too much. Sorry for those who were expecting Chris. No, I'm Noah. Most of you probably see me from stuff with Graphic Isles and stuff with Code Crimes and things like that. And just kind of ready to. I'm excited. Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, so super talented crew. Joe, want to say hello?
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Excited for another episode, number 10. That's great. And yeah, I also want to personally thank Carrie and Noah for being here. Thanks.
Nice.
You bet.
Okay, so let's say what's up to the crowd. We got Colleen Brady in the house. Great to see Carrie as a guest judge. Also looking to forward to hearing from Noah. Great. Christopher Loggins is in the house. Babas is here. Slawek, Rock and Roll CEO. What's up? Goose Toulouse, Pablo Cortez, Deshaun, Jay Poucher, Penny, Monster Geddon. Lots of folks from past reviews are here hanging with us, and I'm sure that crowd will grow as we go. So we're going to get right into it today. Let's go ahead and drop into our traditional judges view here. And before we get into the actual site shows, I know you've heard us talk a lot about Clone Comp and what's coming with this big competition. We've got, as of last look, like 630 plus signups. So while we don't know how those signups translate to direct submissions, we do know it's going to be electric and kind of a blast. And we're building this new space in Gather. And as a perk for some of our live stream viewers, we wanted to show off the space a little bit and tease kind of what's going on here. And so I wanted to show y'all a little bit, and maybe we'll show off too much. Colleen's going to yell at me for giving away some secrets here. But anyway, cool little Stonehenge setup. This is kind of like the main map, and you'll come in. We've got like a little escape room that we're building for people. That's going to be like a maze. So you'll have to figure out how to get through what doors to get to the treasure. And so let's see, we've got this cool auditorium where people are actually going to set up to work. So if you're a participant in Clone Comp, you'll be in this huge auditorium reminiscent of like I think like a high school science fair or something like that, where everyone's just kind of working around a little station. And these will all be private areas. So if I step up here and let's say Carrie's in here building for Clone Comp, and she's sharing her screen, you'll be able to step in and see what Carrie's building. And that's going to be one of the cool elements of this competition, is that it's not just going to be people building at home. It's going to be like interactive stuff. So you'll be able to kind of walk around and see what people are building and interact with everyone. And that'll be really cool. We'll have like a row for all the sponsors and people who are helping support the competition, and a brand new speaker auditorium. So maybe you saw the one we had at the open house, but this time, we're kind of opening it up, letting people fill all around it. We think it's going to be a little bit more versatile space. And so there is more, but that's where we'll leave it at that. Just a little tease for our live loyal fans here. And we're excited. This is going to be, super cool. July 20th. So if you're not signed up for that, check out clonecomp.webflow.io. and we'd love to see you there for that event. So with that being said, who's got the first one? Joe is, I think Joe, or is it Carrie? Who's got the first site here?
That is me.
Okay, Joe's got the first one. So let's get... Oh, before we do that, hold up. Let's remind everybody how it works. Yeah, here's how it's going to go down.
Okay, so here's how it works. Each week, the Webflow community will submit websites for us to critique. Members of the Finsweet team, along with guest judges, will get 5 minutes to review each selected site live on air. The judges, along with members of the audience, will then have 45 seconds to submit their scores before we reveal the overall rating for each website and share our final thoughts. Welcome to Critique by Finsweet.
Okay, there we go. And real quick, we haven't done this before, but we're going to throw up some Twitter handles on the judges here. So that's CC Girl, Noah Raskin, Joe Krug, and then myself at Ray Tirado. Follow us on Twitter. Go share some love with the guest judges. Typically, we'll have the little emojis up there, but I wanted to give a little shout out. So we'll just leave that for a second. We'll go ahead and get 5 minutes on the clock. And Joe, whenever you're ready.
Great. And I'm going to request to screen share this one.
Yep.
And the reason is I chose this because I love it. I think this is a great, great site. And there is a big problem that I have with it. And it's all around click targets. So I'm going to pick out some of the click target issues that we have. And what I mean by this is when you hover over certain things, I believe that they should hover and respond how you would expect them to. So first thing that I did when I went to this site is I saw that this menu really flashes when you go to services and about. I think this is not a good thing to do. I want to see these really working together where this content is switching out, not the entire menu. We see also when I'm hovering over these icons here, this hover icon is going to show when I can't click on it. So the interaction for this icon is set probably to a parent div instead of the actual URL wrapper. And because of this, we think we can click here, but we actually can't because it's just not part of the click target. And these types of little issues are seen elsewhere on the site. Here we have no hover effect here, but yet the same type of call to action, the same style of button, and this hovers. We see the same thing down here with submit. This is not changing color. So this site, I just said everything I don't like about it. It's all around click targets. Please go back, check this out, and really make sure that when somebody is hovering over these things, they're getting a unified experience throughout the site. This is a great example of a wonderful hover effect. I love this. I think this is taking my attention. I think it's cool. It's fun. I want to see more of this type of clean hover effect throughout the site. Now, with some of the better comments, how much time do I have here? Okay, I'll finish up with a solid comment on this. I think this is a wonderful, wonderful way to present that is selling a software. This is a large company. They do very different type of work from a lot of different type of work. And I think that this is doing a really good job staying clean and easy to navigate. So yeah, I really like this one.
Great. Carrie, we'll give you the next shot here. What do you think? Oh, let me go to this. All right. Okay. So what are you thinking as you see this?
So one of the things that really stood out to me it was the way that in this section where they say we are constantly growing, just a little bit below the picture of the train there, I believe. They have these charts and they pick things that are very limited with the data, and the hover state shows extra data points. They picked really simple information to make clear points so that people can come to the site, read it pretty quickly. It does look like on the tons transported, it has quite a few numbers after the decimal points. That to me seems a little much maybe for this, but super minor detail. I love that they just kind of make it quick to get a perspective on the growth. Nothing complex. Anyway, so that was probably one of the things that stood out to me as far as interactions that I loved. I don't actually love the interactions in the transport, outsourcing, and locomotive renting section. I'm not sure if something else should happen here. So I got a little bit confused from it. So I differ with Joe in that. But yeah, overall, I think the message is so clear, and this site is a fantastic one.
Great. Noah, what are you thinking as you see this, as you walk through here?
Yeah, I actually really like this site a lot too. There's a couple things. If I was just to kind of nitpick at it, the one thing, I'm not a huge fan of. We have like the nav bar, when you hover over it, it goes to white. I understand like the purpose of it, maybe to focus, in on what you're looking at. But I think this comes back. I think Joe made a good point on, there should have been a lot more consideration thought out with the sub menu, when you're hovering over the different nav items that do have drop downs. I probably would have focused on that a little bit more and made it more seamless between the transitions. The one thing I was going to say, I like how the buttons are consistent. But yeah, I didn't really think about that before, making the hover states more consistent as well. But I do like how like most of the buttons and the links are consistent throughout the site. Let's see. The other thing, as far as the main services section, one thing I would have to say on that too, while I do like it, I'm a little bit more conservative when it comes to things like this. But the one thing I think that does bother me about these sections, like when you hover over it, you get this weird thing that happens to the text. It looks like the text is shifting around, and things like that really bother me. But that might just be a nitpicky thing, and I don't know, maybe some people might not see it like that, but I don't know, I'm just kind of weird about stuff like that, especially when you have when text is moving around.
I tend to agree with you. Anytime a paragraph width size changes, that jerky behavior is typically not real smooth, and it's not great.
Exactly.
I'm also not a big fan. I like this effect, right? So I get it. It's nice. I think if you're going to build something like this, you shouldn't move the rest of the site. So if you're going to do this, allow yourself enough room in this section here to allow for that room without pushing the rest of the site. When you push the rest of the site down, or when you move the rest of the site with an interaction, that can become a jarring experience for people, for the users. So I kind of like that opens, but I think you should open up this section wide enough and allow for that to open without pushing the rest of the site away. And it's more prominent when there was the 3. Go ahead.
Maybe temporarily hide the paragraph, of the other 2. If you're hovering one,
right?
Maybe slightly hide the other ones.
Sure, almost more like an accordion or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't want to make it look like that, but maybe something close to something in that direction. The other thing, I think it uses a nice consistency with the icons. They're like the same width and same stroke thickness, it looks like, which is really nice. And I don't see that a lot on a lot of sites, which is nerve-wracking to me. But another thing I did want to say though is, while I do like all the information on the site, and I think this site has great use of white space and whatnot, but I think one thing is, I wish the section with the map, the public rail network, I wish that was done up a little bit nicer. It would have been cool. Maybe the whole section was, the map with, maybe part of it focused in a little bit on the parts that mattered, but maybe the whole background is, kind of this big map would be kind of nice. But yeah.
All right. Well, we're well over time here on the kparavs.co.rs site. I'm not sure. I probably butchered that name, but yeah. Okay. So we're going to get 45 seconds on the clock, and judges, do your thing. Let's get the scorecard opened up for the crowd, and let's do it. Actually, let's see. Do we know if... I wonder if the crowd scores are even open. Rohan's usually in the call with us today, and he's not today, so let me make sure. Okay, again, we're looking for design scores. We're looking for that story score, which is the content, the message. Flair is going to be any interactions or things that kind of draw you in, make the site exciting, etc. And usability is how easy is it to get around the site. So how easy is it to navigate? How easy is it to use, etc. And let me check real quick. Okay, we do have crowd scores coming in, so the sheet is open. Rohan, you can feel free to join the audio if you're watching at home so that there's no delay on that. But okay, crowd scores are coming in. We've got scores lined up. As always, we start at the bottom of the pack and move our way up. So on this first one, I've got a low score. Oh, it's not showing up. Let me push those graphics. 1 second here. 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right, so I came in at a 6.0, which actually maybe seems a little low now looking at the rest of the judges. Joe and Noah both came in at a 7.25, and Carrie's in at an 8.0, which gives us a judge's average of 7.13. Which gives us, let's see, bring the crowd. The crowd was actually more in line with my score, 5.90 from the crowd, which gives us a combined score of 6.88, which is not a bad opening score. 6.88 is a nice score, and I think this could easily be a point or two higher here. I really think that this could easily be a point or two higher with some of those refinements that we looked at, that we talked about. Okay, well, that's enough on that one. Let's go ahead and jump over here. The next site is going to be this Paragord Brand Solutions. So, okay, Noah, so we'll get 5 minutes, the first 2 minutes here.
But, okay. I think the first thing that's apparent is the smooth scroll, which is, I think for this page, works really nice because if you scroll through it, there's not too much going on. But the one thing I like is that a lot of the sections do have a lot of kind of big grabbing, text, which is nice. I think especially for some of these sections, they're not too, the flair factor isn't really there. So I think it's nice to have those, bigger words jumping out at you to kind of grab you in, which is clean. I think the spacing is really nice. I think my overall thing, I think the case study section I really like, has a nice kind of introductory, kind of animation to it, especially the hover interactions are clean. I like the videos, the button animations are really nice. I think for me, this, as far as this site, my only complaint is I think some of the sections need a little bit more, just something more to grab me. But I'd have to say my favorite section is probably the recent work. I like the full width sliders. I like the big text. I don't really know what else would I say. I'd say the site's really conservative. It's clean, it's smooth, and I like that. I don't really think you can go wrong with a site like this. I think it's maybe more so playing on the safe side, but overall, I like everything. I like the color, the gray, the dark gray colors are really nice. I don't know if you guys have anything.
Great. Carrie, what are you thinking as you look through here? Paragord Brand Solutions.
Yes. So one of the things in the what we do section there, this is pretty unexpected navigation for me, but I think it works really well. So when you scroll down the site and you get to the what we do in kind of big bold letters, and then they just have a list of a lot of things separated by commas. And then they've got logos below it. Yeah, right up a little bit right there. So we've got this long list of things. And so this is some navigation to different parts of the site, which it kind of works for me, but it's not expected. So that stood out as a positive, especially since they have such a long list of these things that do seem to be equal. That was something that stood out as positive. And then something that stood out as negative, if you scroll down to the testimonials just above recent work, they have a really long length for the text where they have their statement. And it's just a little bit longer than is great for readability. So I would just bring that in and make that about half the width that it is, but yeah,
Yeah, and
I
we've
think
talked
was
about
one
that a
positive and
lot.
negative for me.
We've talked about that a lot recently on past shows about having text too wide. It's difficult across a browser to follow and then jump down to the next line, and you end up like losing your place or getting lost in the middle of a paragraph. And so for sure, anytime you have text like that, you should narrow the width of it to make it more readable. Noah, you said you like the smooth scroll. I don't like the smooth scroll ever. Like, I just don't ever
I like them
want
for
people.
simple pages like this.
I just don't like it. Like, even right now, I was trying to stop on certain places and it kept going past it. And, you know, like, it shouldn't be doing that in my mind. Like, scroll jacking usefully is one way or another, but I just don't like adding scroll behavior that I don't know. And again, it's just a personal thought. So again, here we have, that's an interesting little touchy interaction. This same text issue should be a little more narrow, a little less wide for the full text. And I agree with what Carrie was saying here. It would be interesting to see one of these kind of highlighted ahead of time so that I knew that maybe there was some indicator that these are clickable. Had I not kind of hovered over these, yeah, if I hadn't stumbled over these, like, I wouldn't have known they were clickable. So some kind of indicator that there's a click here. So Joe, I'll give you the last minute. What are you thinking here?
Sure. Great site. Love the spacing. I think a lot of the spacing is equal and unified across this homepage.
Yes.
Cool. I have a problem with the case studies page on, the case study section on the homepage. As you scroll through it, it seems like there's different effects happening. So I don't see the same effect across all four of them. It looks like this beer can is zooming in as you scroll and the height is changing. I got a really weird feeling scrolling through that. It's really nice work, but it just doesn't seem like they go together. Through the effects, through the scaling, like the beer is getting bigger at me, but that next one with the child taking the medicine is not getting bigger at me. So I would unify these effects, make them the same thing if you're going to display these next to each other. I'm going to also agree a lot with this max width on the testimonials and add the section just under the header. There's a black section just under the header where I also think that the paragraph text is a bit too large. And I'll disagree with the recent work comment from Noah. I don't like this. And the reason I don't like it is because there is no separation between the projects. This, to me, it just doesn't look unified. If you go down to the recent work here, a little bit further.
Oh, there it is. Yep.
Here, these are different projects. I feel like the colors are different and the style is different and the type of graphic is different. I would like to see these separated, kind of like the case studies just above. Put a bigger border around these or put these into more of a grid where we can navigate them better. But this just, it looks like too many different things for me.
It's almost like a little Instagram feed here that's showing their work. Joe, I wonder if on this that you're talking about, I wonder if this is like the video effect, if something in the video is causing that zoom effect. If I was going to do something like this, I would make the whole thing. This is like a hover animation on this element and then a hover animation on this element, rather than building a hover animation, like a custom hover animation, that when you hover over this whole thing affects the read more and this button. So I would maybe like say that the interactions on this could be just a little bit more complex, but include the read more button, the hover here, and make this whole area clickable or something. Because I don't like when there's two little different interactions there. That seems like a little disconnected, just to go back to, I think, the point Noah was making. So, okay. That's well over time here. Let's go ahead and get the scorecard open back up.
Can I say one thing?
Yeah, we'll give you during the 45 seconds. You can jump in with final thoughts here. So let's get. Go ahead. What's up?
Sure. Oh no! I just wanted to say I agree with the on the what we do section. I had no idea those were links at first. So if I was a visitor, I would have missed that completely.
Yeah.
Until Carrie said something.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, these links here is what you're talking about. See, I keep scrolling past stuff because it's like
they just look like paragraph. Yeah.
Right.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Some kind of indicator, like show me one of these as its default state as hovered, and then, you know, like, or maybe prompt me somehow. I don't know, some other way to show me that that's potentially clickable. But okay, 45 seconds on the clock. Judges, open up the scorecard. I see the scores coming in from the crowd already here. That's great. Okay, once again, we're looking for a design score. So the overall aesthetic of the website. What's it look like? What's it feel like? Let's see. The story is the content itself. So what do you think about the content of the website? Flair is going to be interactions, emotional connections. Does the site draw you in? Does it make you want to explore and see more? And then the usability is going to be how easy is it to navigate the site, to get around, etc. Okay.
And we have an interesting comment from Jay in the comments here. He asks, what do you think a max width norm on text should be? So he's asking, we keep making these comments about max width. How big should the max width be? Well, I think that depends on a lot of things. It depends on the layout. It depends on the amount of text. It depends on the size of the text. For paragraph text, I would like to think it's between 3 and 600 pixels, 3 and 550 pixels. It really depends on a lot of factors.
Yeah, there's also an optimal line length calculator out there for text that you can find, and it typically ends up being like 54 to 80 characters a lot of the time. But they also often seem a little low to me as well.
So we just got a little hint. And I think going back to Vincent's, I think Vincent said like 66 characters or something like that was kind of a rule of thumb he uses. But we just got a comment, and let's see, it's Goose to Lose was saying, awesome feedback, guys. Thanks for that. If you have some time, click in the contact section and you might see something. So he's using the Finsweet 3D Globe collaboration with Weglot as part of the project here. So
That's cool.
Kudos, extra points for that.
Looks great.
Yeah. And it's cool having some of the people in the audience that who were reviewing the site. We started sending notifications the day of, letting people know their site was going to be reviewed. So it's awesome to see folks from the crowd while we're reviewing the site are live with us. So that's cool. Okay, let's go to the next site. Is going to be Strix Records. So I think I see Strix in the comments here as well. Okay. Yeah.
Did we go over the scores here?
Oh, we did not go over the scores.
We never went up. Yeah, we got into a quick max width talk.
Yeah. Okay. Good. All right. Good catch. Thanks. At least somebody else is paying attention here today. Okay, so as always, we start from the bottom and work our way up. This time we've got Noah Raskin at a 5 1/4. Let's see. What is going on here? Hang on one second. It's not pulling from the right list here. Give me 1 sec to reload this. Okay, there we go. Noah at a 5.25. So the low score is Noah at a 5.25. Joe comes in right above that at a 6.0. Let's see. Carrie and myself are tied at 6.75. So going all the way up from a 5.25 to 6.75 gives us a judge's average of 6.19 for this site. And the crowd came in just above that, 6.50. So really close between the crowd and the judges' score. Gives us a combined score of 6.25 for the Paragord Brand Solutions website there. So great. Nice score.
That's pretty fair.
Yeah, and I think we could, again, probably get back on some of that and boost that score a bit. Like, I really think that score could probably be easily a point and a half higher with some of those small tweaks that we talked about. So, yeah, okay, great. So now we can move on. Let's see. Now we go over to the Strix website, and that's going to be strix-records.com. Go ahead and Gustaluz is saying, wait, my scores. That's funny. Let's see. Strix is saying mine's being featured today. Only just got using Webflow, so some feedback will be great. Most of it's back end, but the front needs some criticism. Okay, great. And I think this is me. Am I leading this conversation on this one?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Okay, so let's get my 5 minutes on the clock. Let's pull the scores, and we'll go ahead and push the 5 minutes. Okay, let's refresh the page just to see, make sure if we missed any like cool loading interactions here. Strix, yeah, that is a dope little logo animation there. I like that. Redefined. I didn't read what that first said. New music, okay. New artists, new playlist. I like this effect. I know this gets used a lot in web design, but it's one of those things that like I do always sit and watch and see like, what are they showing here? It's big, it's bold, colorful little background here. I like it. It's keeping me interested. I haven't even scrolled and I'm already like, all right, what's going on here? So let's see, latest video, our latest music video posted to our channel. Guz set you free. Okay, so watch on YouTube or all videos, and then videos, view all videos. So there's just the one video. So that's kind of a letdown, honestly. To see this big intro and to get real excited and then to only come in and see one video. I'd like to see, let's see what happens if I click view all videos. Strix.
It's just the one.
It's just the one. Okay. So we're early here in this video setup. It's got some potential. It's very simple. The background animations are nice. I don't know if these are like custom background videos or if those are from, you know, some kind of stock site. But either way, they do look nice. It looks like there's maybe a little gradient over top here. So you got a dark end on one side. You get a little bit of the color there. I don't know what's driving the color choices, so I'd be interested to know a little bit about that. I'm not really sure what the point of this website is here, other than like at the beginning, it's telling me a little bit about music, redefined, whatever, but demo drop. Is this like a promotion site for up and coming artists? Is this, do I submit my music here to get a record deal? Is this for exposure? Like this little logo entry, super cool. Love this. This grabs me, like you've got me hooked here, right? Right from the beginning. I want to learn more. I'm rooting for you, but I don't feel like the rest of the site kind of delivers on that expectation. So what are you thinking, Carrie, as you see this Strix site?
Yeah, it's interesting that it being a record label site gets a little bit lost with the number of animations here. And they clearly want you to know they're a record label. One thing I will say, because typically this level of animation is in over the top for my preference, and I would stay away from it. The one of the few cases I can see where it would make sense is a record label has to want to be cool. I mean, that's kind of part of their being. So this is one of the few cases where I would look at and not feel like it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like we're getting
and that doesn't get lost for somebody who's been looking.
Sorry, we dropped you there a little bit, Carrie. It looks like maybe we're getting a little hairy internet connection. Can you repeat that last line?
Oh, yeah, it's just that I would make sure it stays clear that it is a record label, that that doesn't get lost.
Yeah, great. Joe, what are your thoughts here as you see this?
Yeah, I have to triple down on that comment that I do like this hero animation, but underneath that, I want something else. I want something that represents your brand, something other than just these keywords on top. What makes you Strix? What's great about Strix? There's nothing about that here. So definitely think about that it's not just viewing your work. You have to have some branding in it. Cool. I'd like you to look at the spacing in this latest video feature. Kind of seems like there'll be one featured video and then you'll have a list of videos with the audio tracks. I would look at that latest video feature. It's not really bringing me in. It's not, I don't think the contrast of that date and the views and the thumbs up, thumbs down is enough. A little bit too gray for me. And also, if it's just 4 thumbs up and 0 thumbs down, 22 views, maybe you hide that information for now. That's not very relevant to somebody that wants to check everything out. So yeah, those would be my comments here. You have a lot of work to do, and definitely try to put some of you into it.
Yeah. Noah, we'll give you the last minute.
Yeah, so I think my biggest gripe with this site is things just get lost in the darkness. Like once you get past the hero section, I don't know what I can click on and what I shouldn't be focused on. Like if you scroll down a little bit, number one, actually we'll start with the hero right there. I'm not the biggest fan of the typing text, especially for a record label site. Just not a fan of it. I think it should be bold up front to let me know what I'm here to look at, and you know, and that's it. But if you scroll down to the next section, I just don't know, like things are just get hidden in the darkness here. I feel like there should be kind of some separation of like maybe this video card or something here. Maybe put like a slightly lighter dark gray on there. The other thing too is these two buttons, like watch on YouTube and all videos, are just sitting on top of each other and they're not the same length. I'd maybe do something with that. One other thing I noticed too is if you click on like the videos link in the nav bar, for example, you'll see it has like this neat kind of Strix logo looking animation to it. But then that's the only place I see that. It's not in the navbar logo, so it's not like part of the brand's logo. So I don't know if that's just supposed to be a cool transition for, you know,
yeah,
no purpose.
It's like a page loader because it happens every time you load the page. Yeah.
Right. It would have been cool if it like maybe filled in or something like that, you know, to kind of go back to the original logo. But the other thing too is on one of the other pages, the text looks like most of all the text across the website is just bold. There is no like regular font weight to differentiate the paragraph from the, you know, from the titles or anything like that. So I think like right here, for example, fill out this demo form or this form. So that's another thing I'd probably look at. And I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's hard to really say because there's really not, you know, that much content on it. The one other thing I would say is I think the site needs like some kind of about page. If it's a record label company, I don't know anything about it. And I think that would be useful to have for a site like this.
Yeah. And one thing to think about is if you're pitching yourself as a record label, you're probably trying to get exposure to people who want exposure. And so the idea is that you need to be bigger than the people you're trying to like expose. And I don't get that feel here. I feel like you're trying to get this "we're bigger than we are" image with the website, but the content doesn't really support that in my mind. Like, I think it needs more videos, you need more views, you need more like credibility. I'd like to see who are you working with on this website? What credentials do you have in the music business? What does your network look like? What other labels are you collaborating with? So I think there's just a lot that needs to be here for this to be a full site. And it looks like it's his first site. So we're seeing here only just started, so only got one video. I'll make my own video in After Effects and I'm using it to promotion. So yeah, I need to work on a lot, just haven't got a lot of content for it yet. My first Webflow site, so the feedback is great. So yeah, this is another in progress site. So let's go ahead and give this 45 seconds. We'll start getting the live scores in from the crowd. Judges, feel free.
Is it his site? Or...
What's that? It is the person that's.
It's his site. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Strix, maybe you can tell us
in
the comments.
Building it for someone?
Yeah, is this for you, or are you building this for someone? Okay, so let's get the scores in from the judges. Let's see. Again, we're looking for the design score, the story score. I think that story score is going to struggle a bit on this one, to be honest.
Yeah, I hate to beat him up too much, man. But...
Right. Well, that's what you send it in for, is to get the feedback, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so 13 seconds, crowd. You got just a few more minutes. Let's see if anybody's saying something interesting in the chat. Let's see. Yeah, Azrael, if you check in the description of the video, there's a link where you can submit a site to be reviewed. We don't pull sites live in real time, but there's a form there in the description of the video if you'd like to have your site reviewed, which you can submit. Let's see, Jay Poucher saying you could make the page loader animation, animate the word of the page. It's going to be the same style, stay in the same branding. Sure, that'd be interesting to see. Okay, great. So let's see what the scores came in at. Who's the low score? All right, we've got a tie for the low score between myself and Noah here. So 3.75 from the both of us. Joe comes in a full point higher at a 4.75, and Carrie's dropping a 5.75, which gives us a judge's average of 4.5 on the Strix Records website. The crowd gives it a 3.33, which gives us a combined total score of 4.27 on the Strix website. This would be a good redemption round. We'd like to see this finished. And I'd like to encourage people. I know we've done a couple of these kind of like in progress sites. I want to make sure we don't get into the habit of this. So we're going to start scrubbing these, I think, a little tighter. We're gonna want to make sure that there's a full site before we bring it into the site. So it can be an early site, but it needs to be a full site, right? Don't send over a page that that just doesn't have a finished product on it. We're gonna not review those anymore on the site. I'm making an executive decision right now. Okay. Let's see the next site. Any beef on that executive decision from the judges? Am I being too rough? I just think we could end up overwhelmed. We could end up overwhelmed with just like real early level sites, and I don't want to do that. Joe, I think you're muted maybe.
All right.
Yeah.
Whoops.
I think this one is me.
Yeah, she's like, let's move on from that. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear what Joe said.
No, yeah.
No,
He
I
was
muted myself. I lost my chance. Let's go. Move
All
forward.
right, it's over. Carrie, 5 minutes on the clock. Whenever you're ready, send it.
Okay, so this one is interesting. Recruiting ACEs. I don't know what ACEs are. And when I see this homepage, it doesn't give me any more explanation. There's not any scrolling that can happen here. The visuals are okay. I'm not an expert UI person, but I feel like this gradient is maybe could use a little work. And become the happiest person you know is so generic. I'm really confused what it is that they do. That doesn't help me in any way. Happiest place on earth is what it makes me think of. And this is not Disneyland. This is getting a job. So I'm a little confused in the story here. But then once you click on the I am an employer site, it definitely goes into detail. But it has the opposite problem. It goes into so much detail. If you scroll through the page, there's just a lot of text. And then we get to this section where we start having some numbers, and it's really lengthy. I feel like this is a place where they could use some editing. It's so hard to make things succinct and tell a clear, detailed story in limited text, but I think that would benefit them greatly. And maybe if people are part of ACEs or ACE, that is, I still don't know. We're in the business of the aha moment of recruiting is at the top of the page. Okay, that still doesn't tell me exactly what ACEs are and whether or not this site would apply to me. So I think really my struggle with this site is their story, and then their visuals are fine. They could probably use some work, but I'm not going to stay because I don't even understand if it's for me at this point. So they've lost me before the visuals even matter because I don't understand why I'm here or why I should stay.
Yeah.
That's my overall.
Good feedback. Noah, what are you seeing here?
I was going to say the same thing. The website is just littered with too much copy, man. It's just overwhelming, kind of. And it's funny because the design is very underwhelming, actually, in my opinion. And I'm not sure, like, the first thing you read is become the happiest person you know, and then we're talking about jobs, and it's just a weird thing to me. And I think a lot of the blue kind of gets lost in this gradient, especially, accessibility, when you're looking at it from that standpoint. I think the blue kind of gets lost a little easier on this gradient. But yeah, I think my biggest complaint, I think the typeface they use is really clean. I like that. It's nice. The colors are clean. I just think they weren't used as best as they could be. But my biggest complaint about this thing is there's just way too much copy. And, it's hard because sometimes you get clients that, I don't know if this is for a client or if it's their actual website, they built it, but if it is for a client, you sometimes get those clients that they just want to put all this text on it, and it's hard to find that medium where you have to be the person to kind of, hold that back and try to find that good balance of, what's enough copy and what's enough to get the message across. And I think this is just way too much, and it's kind of hard to stay on it with all this. Yeah.
I'm reading here on the About page, and it explains what ACES is, but this is the first time that I see this, and I had to dig, right? Architecture, construction, engineers, and science, which seems like it's kind of a cool anagram, or I don't know what that's called. But yeah, on the homepage, you should explain that to me, and I could see something like ACES right at the top, where it it gives me the industries, and maybe I can learn more about each industry or something like that. And I could even see this homepage split up into two halves, and it's find the right job, find the right candidate, or something like that, where it's instead of just having the 2 buttons and no scroll, if you're going to split the traffic, because I imagine what happens on a landing page like this is that you want to split the traffic in 2 directions, right? You want to split people off to either the employer or the candidate page. And so if you're going to do that, just be real specific that hey, partition yourself off here, make one look for the candidates, one for the employer, and then underneath that, explain what the ACEs are, right? Am I an ACE? Is an ACE a playing card? What is the ACE thing here? So that would be my biggest critique. Joe, what are you thinking? You got the last word.
Yeah, everything. I agree with every single thing that we've said. The biggest things for me, that top left, right where we see here, the yellow background on that blue logo is just drowning out for me. And that's so important, being the company logo. And I also give a really hard second to that homepage. I thought I was supposed to scroll on that homepage. It looks like a normal hero that you're supposed to scroll through. Mm-hmm. That should be centered. Hey, choose one of these buttons. You're one of these people. If you're not, we don't really care about you. So everything, please cut down this copy. This site would be really nice with about 30% of the copy.
Yeah. And I want to point out one more thing as I was scrolling. These are blurred out until you scroll, or until they get to a place, or until I hover over them. I don't know if that's a winning strategy. Just as a usability, I don't know. I'm not sure I hate it. I'm not sure it's not a winning strategy. I see what you're trying to do here with this, it's faded and it comes into view as you scroll up and then it fades out again. I'm just not sure it's the cleanest execution on that. And I wonder what people think as they're trying to read some of that. I don't know. Just a final thought there on that little interaction. So, well over time here. Let's get 45 seconds on the clock, and we can then get any final words when we go into the score from the judges. So crowd scores are open, and judges, you've got 40-ish seconds here to share your thoughts. And again, any final thoughts there? Noah, were you gonna share some final words of wisdom?
Oh no, I think you made a good point at the end there. I think those transitions at the end with that scrolling text, that sticky section could have been a lot better executed. Probably would have been easier to take in too if there wasn't so much copy. It's, you going through all that copy at the beginning and then you got that to go through too. It's kind of a lot.
Yeah. Okay, scores are coming in. You got about 7 seconds left if you're in the crowd to submit your audience scores. Let's let those come in while we take a look at the guest scores. So let's get back to the home page here. Recruiting aces. As always, we start at the bottom of the pack and work our way up. And this time it is Carrie with a 3.5. And then we go up a quarter point to Noah at a 3.75. I come up another quarter point to a 4.0. And then Joe goes a little bit higher with a 5.5, which gives us a judge's average of 4.19 for the Recruiting Aces site, which is just above the crowd. I guess it's about 3/4 of a point above the crowd. So the crowd comes in at 3.44, giving us a combined score of 4.04 for the recruitingaces.com. This again, I think it comes down to just a little bit of restraint on the copy. If you need to put a lot of copy, put some blog articles out into the, like create a little blog section and then create some nice little cards that take me to learn about some of that copy or some of that deeper stuff. But on your home pages, on your high level pages, just show me real big, elegant, and then suck me into that deeper content. When I want to learn more, then give me the option to kind of go deeper and dig into some of that text. I think that would be a lot more beneficial in this instance. And I bet there's a lot of good content that you have about how to find the best candidate or how to find the right job. And so like presenting that strategically, I think would be a real value on this website as well. So, okay, we've got 2 more sites that we've kind of got to run through here. So let's see, WTEM, who's on this one?
That is me.
Joe, let me pull the
I'm
scores. Ready. 5 minutes on the clock and send it.
Okay, we have a personal portfolio of Baltazar. I really like this site. I think it's fun. It's showing his personality. It's cool. It's modern. I don't know what's going on. I do know what's going on. I want to keep scrolling through when I see this. And this, I think, is a bit too much text. I like the concept. I love this big text with the emoji fillers, but it's just a little too much for me. I think if you cut that in half, people will actually stop and read it. It's a little too long for me to want to stop and read. And if we keep going down, great work. Love the work, the actual quality of the work. I think this effect is cool. It's not really coming through well on this screen share, but if you go scroll through your machine, it is really nice and cool and smooth. Awesome. So yeah, Balthasar, I'm really liking this site. I think you did a really good job. Scroll down a little bit more to this next section. Next section, testimonials, cool. This is a fun little effect. Love it. But this next section, I know my clients value. This is what I want to talk about. This doesn't do anything for me. This time, understanding, independence, uniqueness, partnership, you're just saying things. This doesn't, I have no proof that you know anything about this. I would much rather use this space to show off your awesome work. Baltazar, you are great. I looked through your work, your portfolio. I looked at the GIFs on all of your portfolio pages. Go and put these on the homepage. Steal my heart on the homepage. Don't make me click through each work to really understand how good you are. So take off that stuff that doesn't really mean anything and go put your great work on this. I'm also going to give you one challenge to add an additional color to your personal brand. You have a very good sense of color. I looked through all your work. It's all very colorful, very high quality. If you find a way to add another primary color to your brand, I think it's going to be a lot stronger. Right now, you're rocking the red, the black, and this off-white type thing. It's cool, but there's more there. I feel it.
Nice. Okay, great early thoughts. Noah, we'll give you the next take.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I don't know if I'm the best person to ask right now because I was looking at the wrong link. I didn't see the link posted in the thing, so I couldn't click on it and kind of scrub through it.
Okay, let's see. It's up on it's WTEM.design if you want to go through. Carrie, your thoughts?
Yeah. So I think it's really great that Joe said he should have one extra color because I was thinking like this, the top is great, but there's a link here to custom website design and it blends in with this WTEM, which actually I don't understand why that's an alias for his work. That part's a bit confusing to me, but it looks great. But if this link to custom web design could be a different color than his header here, that would be great. And same thing at the very bottom where it has the underlines for schedule a free call and underlining his email address. I'd prefer to see those just as a link color that's different than the red everywhere. But honestly, it's great.
Yeah,
it gets some really good work. I love it.
Yeah, I agree. The hover's nice. I'm not sure at the top that is a link. Is it? This custom website design, I keep clicking on it. I don't think that is a link.
Oh, okay.
But again, it goes to the point that what you're saying, it's a little confusing, right? I don't know if it is a link. I don't know if it's like just calling out that sentence. Schedule a free call and see my work is nice. I tend to agree with Joe. I think if this was 1 or 2 sentences, it would be, you know, a little more powerful. It's a little confusing because the way the font is, how big, and like, yeah, I'm probably going to skip that, just like Joe said. I do like this design. I love the hover. I think your work is great. So again, to jump on what Joe's saying, and even the even the scroll bar here is customized. Everything on this is very well thought out. I would like to see some of this work being featured a little more prominently on the homepage, like Joe said, as opposed to some of this other stuff that's in here. But overall, I think there's a great design aesthetic here. It's very unique. It does kind of pull me in. But I think it still lacks a little bit from that story standpoint, where I would like to see you like maybe refine the way you're presenting the products or the services that you offer here. So it's like, you got the brand, you got the feel, you've obviously got the skills, but I think like some work with a really talented copywriter would really make this site pop really, really well. Noah, we'll give you just a real quick thought there after getting a chance to look at it.
Yeah, I think this is really nice. I love the colors as well. One thing I would probably add is just maybe like 150 millisecond transition to the buttons. The other thing I think is really cool is I like the little copy mail button at the bottom. I think that's awesome. I wish more sites had something like that. I love this. Overall, I love this thing. One quick thing, and the testimonials is great. One quick thing I would say is that for me, the case studies section, you know, when you're scrolling through, is a little bit jittery and not smooth to me. So that's the only thing. I would almost prefer that just to be flat and not tilted and have all this animation to it. Maybe the background circle, but it's a little jittery for me and not smooth. And it kind of ruins this section just a little bit, but it looks great.
Yeah, great. Okay, plenty of feedback on the WTEM.design website. So let's get the 45-second clock started, and we'll open up the crowd scores. Go ahead and start your submitting your design, story, flair, and usability scores on the WTEM.design website. So let's see. This thing will probably get some, give it some good, yep, design scores, looking nice. Okay, the story, the copy, the content. What do we think about that, huh? Okay. Flair. It's going to be the emotions, the interactions, and then usability. Why isn't that taking the scores here? All right. Any final thoughts? Anything coming interesting from the crowd here? Let's see what the crowd's got to say.
Yeah, we have positive comments. Of course. Site's awesome, 100%. Love it.
Yeah. Looks brilliant on mobile. Yeah. We don't do a good job of checking these things on mobile. Love it, but it's very reliant on a good internet connection.
Okay.
Speaking of internet connections, the internet gods have kicked Noah off, so hopefully he'll join us here. There he is, back in a second. So, okay, so let's look at these scores real quick. Noah, are these maybe still your scores from last time? Did you get your scores updated on that sheet? We don't have your audio, Noah. Okay, it looks like Noah's scores might be left over from the last sheet, and then
they have to be.
Let's average them out.
Yeah,
we'll average them out here.
There we go. Okay, so that's set up. Okay, so I came in, and that seems low too. It's like my scores didn't update either. I know my design score was higher than that. Okay, sorry. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now that feels right. Okay, so 6.75 on my end. Still the low score. Joe comes in at a 7.0. Noah goes up from there at an 8.25, and Carrie at an 8.25. So both Carrie and Noah liked that site quite a bit. 7.56 as the judges average here. And then the crowd comes in just a little bit lower than that. So a little bit more in line with Joe and my score on this site at a 6.69, with a combined total score of 7.39, which is a great score. And to think that with a couple of these things, it could even have been higher. This could have been like 8, 8.5 website easily. But great showing here, honestly, with this personal portfolio. Great job here. Okay, and who's got the last one? I think this is Carrie, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get
All right,
the
so
URL up. 5 minutes on the clock. Whenever you're ready, Carrie.
So I love this site. There's just the bold visuals are really strong. They draw me in. I want to see what's going on. Their story is really clear. Talent in USA, first of all, with their URL and their name, I mean, talent in Tulsa, I know exactly what's going on here. They're talking to people looking for careers in Tulsa. And I think the visuals are nice as you scroll down. It's succinct and it gives you a clear story. And then if you go over to this, they give you just a little bit of data, 2,900 open jobs, 300 companies. They make it very easy for you to understand what's going on here and to connect if that's what you care about. If I were looking to move to Tulsa, I would be on this site a lot. And then they even have things on their Life in Tulsa section or that page where they give you links to different cost of living comparisons. And crazily enough, it's like $2,500 less per month to live in Tulsa for rent than in San Francisco or Portland. I mean, I guess that makes sense, but that just seems like so much. And then they even show you housing. So I love the kind of breadth of content that they have. I love that it's clear, that it's focused, that the visuals, it makes me want to move to Tulsa if I could want to move to Tulsa.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. I am seeing a little issue here. I don't know if that's on my screen or if that's just like a spacing problem here. Are other people seeing that?
No, it looks like an error to me too.
Yeah. So just kind of careful with your width there. I don't know if this is like just a lot of padding inside of here or if you're pushing this over somehow with some other element. But I wanted to go back to this home page because I think this other recruiting site that we looked at earlier could take some benefits from what's happening here. I don't necessarily love this grow with us, find a career you'll love. I like the find a career you'll love, right? So that call to action is great, but I don't know that you've prepped me enough to click that button with the grow with us. I'd like to see a little bit more, even if it's just reinforcing talent in Tulsa or giving me a little sentence there about, that job search or whatever it is. A little nitpick on the logo. I might like to see in Tulsa separated a little bit. Maybe the in is a little smaller. Tulsa is a little bigger. I don't know. I'd have to experiment with that or see that. But in Tulsa kind of feels like one word here. So it could be just again, a little nitpick. But right here is where I like the split. So the recruiting page that we saw before, right? We've got an intro. We've got a little sentence that explains what's happening here. I would like to see this a little bit higher. So I would like to see that covering this hero video. But then they do what I was talking about with the other site where it's like splitting people in half. So this is where they're sending them down those two paths. So for the recruiter, if you're watching that before, I like how this is handled here. And I agree, Carrie, nice stats, big visuals, wide open. Yeah, nice little subtle interactions. Yeah, very understated, very nice. Joe, what are you thinking as you look through this?
Really clear site for the amount of content on it. There's a lot of things I really like about this. I really do not like the shadows. I think the shadows site-wide are just way too much, way too aggressive, and just not needed. And I would say pretty much every element that has a shadow, I do not like that shadow. So I would go back and look at that shadowing. There's an art to shadowing. And if you master that art, I think that the site will look a lot better. Or just take them out. I don't think they're needed. And then my next comment is around the paragraph text, that this entire website has one font style. And that one font style, I think, looks a lot better in bigger text and not as good in paragraph text. And I think if you bring another typography into this site for that paragraph text, it's going to be a lot stronger. It's going to make that primary font much stronger. And that's the same as your logo font. I think it will really shine a lot more. So those are my two comments. Overall, cool site. really, really good for the amount of content, which is hard to do.
Great. Noah, send it off. Last words. We don't have your audio, Noah. I'm not sure what you did when we first started. Hold up, I have something for this. Okay, not real sure what's happening on that, but it looks like we might have lost Noah's audio here, so we'll give him just another second to see if he can sort that out. Okay, may just have to move right into the scores here, so let's get 45 seconds on the clock. Noah, if you can get that sorted out for some reason, we can pull you in and have you give your thoughts after here or something, but let's go ahead and get 45 seconds on the clock for the sake of time and get these final scores in for the Talent in Tulsa website. The copy itself, flair, will be interactions and the emotional connection. Does it draw you in? Does it make you want to look and explore the site anymore? And then usability is kind of how easy is it to navigate or explore the website. Testing, Noah. Can we... Yeah, Noah's back.
Nice.
Okay.
All right, so while we'll give Noah 30 seconds on the clock while the crowd scores come in. Go ahead and share your thoughts here on the Tulsa site.
Yeah, so one thing I wanted to say was, if you scroll down just a little bit, first of all, I have to second Joe's comment about the shadows. I would just remove them or fix them up, because shadowing really is an art, and this, to me, it just kind of makes the buttons or the site itself just kind of feel dirty. It has like that kind of dirty feel to it, and I just don't like that at all. If you scroll down though, I think it's on the home page. It's not, it's probably closer to the top. It's one of the sections at the top. Anyways, it's on the home page. I don't think this is the home page.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, it is. There it is. There it is. If you scroll down just a little bit, keep going right here. This you're passing it. If you scroll just a little bit, it's the pink on this blue and these other colors. I think it's just literally killing my eyes, man. These colors here on these, I think it's really important for designers to know, like, just basic color theory and what colors work with other colors against certain backdrops. But these colors, and it's happening in quite a few places on this site, it's like literally hurts my eyes to look at these. And I think you should either just use white, or I don't know. It's just, there's a ton of different options you could go with that, but those things I would fix. And again, it might even be, it's the shadows that are ruining it too. But there's a lot of websites where you can check, other compatible, like if you're going to use that pink for buttons like that, there's websites, cool websites out there where you can check compatibility where it looks good on other colors and see what matches. But these, I can tell you right now, don't fit. And it's, I would probably change that.
Yeah.
Just my first impressions on that. But
yeah.
Everything else looks great. I love this site overall. So
great. Did you get a chance, Noah, to update? Are all the scores appropriate here? Let's go ahead and start from the bottom up. Man, I've been brutal on people today. I'm sorry, y'all. But I've been putting it down on you on the post today. So 6.50. Let's see, Joe not far behind me today though, so a quarter point above. 6.75 on this one. Noah comes in at a 7.25, so just a half point above that. And Carrie comes in at an 8.75. Carrie, you really like this site. Yeah, I think from the beginning when we were looking at these, Carrie was like, she was excited about leading this one. So yeah, big high score there from Carrie. Judges average at 7.31, which is really close to the crowd, actually. This is really close. So the crowd's at a 7.50 on this website, giving us a total combined score of 7.35, which I think is a great score, to be honest, for this site. Like, we don't get a lot up into the sevens, on, especially, it's a very simple and understated site. Typically the sites that, break the 7 or 8 threshold are the, the real fancy, hyper designed, the real beautiful things. And so to see, this is lots of good usability, lots of good simplicity. Carrie, tell us what Give me some final thoughts on why this one really spoke to you, kind of even from the get-go.
Yeah, I just feel like the user waver from it, and then they go deep on that story. I mean, showing home prices and then the way their testimonials were about working with them, it just, I think it's rare that somebody adds that many touches to a simple story, and that's what made it special to me. And then it was just so clean.
Yeah, and I
Hey, can I ask you guys a question?
Yeah, yep.
Do you feel the nav bar maybe feels a bit too crowded?
Maybe it could be those buttons, the two big calls to action, and I do really think the shadows take away from it. And I didn't realize the buttons in the header are square and the rest of the calls to action are rounded. So just some thoughts for consistency there. But
yeah, and you don't know that find a character you'll love at the bottom, like inside the hero. I didn't even know that was a button or you could click on it. Like there's no indication that you should click on that. So
yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That call to action, like Carrie, it is a real nice site. But that call to action, I think, is what really, like, the building a more vibrant and inclusive Tulsa for all at the top of this was such a good, like, let me bring that up. So that's a great headline, and this is a great subheading. I kind of want to see that immediately with a button, with some kind of button. So just a little bit clearer call to action on the site there. Would be great in my mind. But yeah, anyway, a little extra feedback there for the talent in Tulsa site, and let's get final thoughts from the judges here. What's Noah, what are you thinking? First experience on critique as a judge?
Oh yeah, it's been fun. I feel like I was kind of slightly not as prepared just because of it was kind of thrown into this slot, but I thought it was fun, man. I had a good time.
Yeah, I do appreciate the last minute fill in. So
yeah. Damn it, Chris. Yeah, no, it was cool. I'm sure Chris would have a good time doing this too. So
yeah, everybody would. I encourage everyone, if you're out there and you're interested in, like sharing your thoughts or getting up here, yeah, feel free to check the link in the description of this video. There's a link to apply to be a judge. I think we're booked out a couple weeks ahead, but yeah, we've got some slots open. We'd love to have you. Carrie, thoughts as a first time as a critique judge?
Yeah, I just think this is such a valuable service to the community, and that you guys take your time to do this every week is amazing. It's a great way to learn, and I hope people who are building sites and trying to get better will keep submitting their projects. Yeah, it's a great experience too. Really fun.
Nice. Joe, any final thoughts here? Are we doing co-work today? We got time for that? Yeah, should we jump?
Yeah, let's jump into the co-work for a little bit.
Spend a few minutes in co-work hanging. Judges, you're welcome to join us. Finsweet.com/co-work. Rohan, maybe you can throw that link into the YouTube chat, and we'll go ahead and spend... yeah, Jay's saying we need a co-work session today. All right, Jay, for sure, we'll do that. So let's see. Eunice is joshing around here with Noah. It's been speechless for Noah. So when your mic went out, they were making a joke about you being speechless about the website.
I'll be more prepared next time. So,
no, that's all right, man. Stuff happens. So that was just a funny joke there. And then Matt Evans is saying pink t-shirt, Noah. So Matt Evans throwing you some jabs. Noah getting some riffs there at the end. Okay, hey, so man, check us out in the co-work channel, finsweet.com/co-work. We're going to end the stream now, and we will see you all inside of Gather. Talk soon. Okay.